Hey y'all, happy Saturday. And today I thought we would do something a little different. Many of you by now have already begun purchasing the stencils that launched on Thursday. But so I thought Saturday we're having a special discount, 20% off through Sunday evening. So follow the link below and it'll take you to get a free set of printables, and it also will get you the code to get the 20% off. So all of you guys here on YouTube, I just wanted to make sure that you were able to take advantage of that 20% off if you're not already on my newsletter and things like that. So I just thought, let's have fun making some paper for our journal. So I'm just in the mood to make more decorative papers and stuff. You know, I've already started just using some of the stamps here, and in this fold out, remember we were using not this one. Where's the fold out? This one. We used a lot of the stamps on this one. And what I like to do is I like to make paper so that I have stuff ready to go. So I thought, let's just have fun with the stamps. All of them that are in the collection, because I don't think you guys have seen them. And it's a few things. First of all, I'm working on this calligraphy paper. This is a practice paper. That's why these grids are here. So you can use the individual grids for the kanji, or you can use the large ones and make them, you know, you can make them as large as you want using the grid. But I like this paper as background paper. I'll make sure the link for the paper is down there, but it's handmade paper and it's got the printing on it. I just like this anyway. And so I thought it would be cool to stamp on it using our Iroshizuku inks. I have some more. I have this sort of blue one. This is like a Payne's gray, and this is kind of like a berry color along with our gray. So I thought it would be cool just to first of all stamp this up so you all could see all the different patterns. And while we're at it, we're making cool paper. I definitely want to use, you can use stamp pads with it. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. You can use stamp pads, but I want to use the inks because I just love the way they bleed. So we're going to do a few different things. I'm also going to kind of pull out my gel plate and also, as I like to also stamp a layer of paint down and then also stamp over top of that. So this whole set is inspired by various cultures. It kind of has like a textile sort of feel to it in terms of the patterns. And they're just a very global kind of overall pattern. This is designed to be a background to the work that you're already doing. You can use the whole thing. You can use it in portions. Let's just go ahead and start laying it down. This is going to bleed. It should bleed nicely on this paper. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm not going to lift everyone up, but I'm going to show you. Look at that. That's just so good. I love just the nature of them. So I'm just going to kind of get the stamping. So they'll come with, so the sets are like this. This pattern and then a smaller kind of border pattern will come, and the border pattern is larger in scale than this one. I'll show you. And that's kind of neat because then it just kind of changes the scale of it. It also just allows us to have pieces. Sometimes you just want to be able to stamp. And I like to change the size. I do my stencils like that too, where I have different size patterns. And when I make my printables, you guys who have purchased them before, you know that I'll have patterns and I'll make them all different sizes because I think that it just allows for that diversity. So you can see how that's a little larger in scale. And so it'll make a border nicely. So let's go ahead and just get That's this blue. This blue is pretty. Let's see this Payne's gray. So this is another kind of overall textile sort of pattern. It's also, this is from a wood block that I did a few years back. And I just thought it was a perfect pattern. And you know, I love working with these fountain pen inks. I just think they are the best. Because I like the kind of bleeding that you get. So I'm gonna stamp them all so that way you can see all the patterns, because I think it's kind of cool to see what they all look like before you purchase. Love that. See that just the differences in scale. And so this one you'll see that that Payne's gray is yummy. Oops. Oh, I didn't mean to go down that far. Oh well. Thought I was using the other brush. So this is the border pattern. Like I said, they come 2 in a pack. And you'll be able to see this is definitely a different size. So that's cool. Like, so you can have, I think the character and the, you know, the difference in size just sort of gives a different kind of feel to it. Oh, I really like this color. So let's, now we also have a stencil that is, wait a minute, that is, I knew I had some other, this is the, at one other, oh, here it is. Okay, this is the correct one. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's, I don't know, let's put that blue on this one too. I like that. So this is kind of like a full pattern. It's neat for like sort of just to create backgrounds, and it's got a lot of layers of text on it. So it's the kind of thing that you can lay down and you could print over it. You could do jelly prints and then stamp with this in part or in full, you know, like I'm inking the whole thing up so you can see the whole pattern. But in a lot of instances, I don't ink the whole thing up. So just to get bits and pieces. Oh, love that. That's cool. So you get this sort of, you know, it's kind of hard to see a little bit right now. Probably could have put a little bit more ink on it, but you see where you get that background. And then you could come back with one of these text blocks, and let me get another paintbrush, because that one is a, this is a pink, or sort of a raspberry color. So these are all from either my archives of old documents that are 1800s. And I've done them so that it's recognizable as script, but you can't necessarily, you know, like most of these are French and Italian. So you can kind of read them, but not really. And I didn't want them to be sort of a recognizable font. I wanted to be something that just speaks to, you know, a calligraphic text, but nothing that's so readable that every time you go to stamp it, it looks like the same stamp. I wanted it to be like, you know, not recognizable. Something that, you know, could look different enough. So we can just, I'm gonna kind of over stamp it a little bit so you can see how we can take it. Oh my God, this color is the best. See how you can even start stamping over the other one, so that this one just kind of begins to create sort of like a background texture. And then even working through on the paper underneath, you get these patterns with the with the fountain pen ink, and then this can be stained and everything. So all of this, of course, gets used, right? Okay, so that's this textile pattern. Let me just, I feel like there's some more on there, so we'll just get it off. Yeah, see? And I just like the way it looks, how it bleeds, and it's the ink. You can use your stamp pads, but for me, the ink is supreme. So let's go ahead and get another one. These. This one has a number on the bottom, 1787. It was really one of the numbers that was on the document. This particular one was from 1787, but it's at the end there, so you can use it as a full piece, or you could just use that number or any one of those numbers. You can just ink up one of them and use it. Especially if you use this technique of using the fountain pen ink and a brush. It's just so it's so much easier to direct where you're putting your ink. So let's put it this way. Okay. So it's really bleeding. Now, it's bleeding a lot because of the ink I'm using. Of course, you know, you can get a very crisp, clear mark if you just use a stamp pad. And I'll use a stamp pad too to show you, but I really love this bleeding, especially as I'm going to go back and work things in the journal. Let's use some of the Artfoamie, this sort of gray color. So yeah, just playing and having fun. And then we'll use these papers next week in our journal, of course. Like our cabinet of curiosities. So you just kind of get this old world, kind of global, inspired prints. Okay. So this is the third, or this is the fourth of the, so there are two in the pack. I forget which ones come together, to be honest, but two come together and two come together. So you'll get two in a pack, which is nice. Oh, look at that. Love it. Just love the subtle feel of it all, and I really like the way it bleeds, and all these little drips of the ink mark that we get, like that little drip there and over there. You can add more of those to this as we go. So let's get some of this on. Now this is a sort of a chevron pattern. It's also really well known in the Cuba, Central Africa textiles. But you find this in Native American textiles. You find this in, of course, Papua New Guinea. I mean, there's a lot of places where this shows up. So see how we get that nice little border kind of band there? And then, so this is the set. So you can see how much bigger that is over this. So there again, we're just scaling it. You just get some of, let's get some of this. Okay. Yes. Oh, anyway, boy, I have more designs in the making. Once I started designing these, I just fell in love with the process of the way these look. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so this goes here. So I think there are 7 sets. Oops. So here we, oh, that just looks so good. And on this background, so you can see how it really has, the stamps are designed to sort of be broken like that. And, you know, bits like sort of here and bits and pieces. I wanted it to have that very, let's see, what's the word? Kind of aged and sort of feel to it. So that it would look, when you stamp them, it would just look like that, you know, there was something that you could really make it look like it's something from an old textile, or an old document or something like that. You guys know my love for old documents and archaeology and our cabinet of curiosity. So of course, I want it to sort of have that feel to it. The stamps. Look at that pattern. Oh, I love it. This is from the Kuba cloth. Many of you who've seen those patterns recognize that. And these are stamps that I have been wanting for years. I've wanted patterns like this that I could just access very quickly. And for years ago, I had some rubber stamps made with some of these patterns. And because I just like to have the accessibility of, especially when I'm making my books and working in different documents, that I can just stamp stuff, you know. And so that's the larger pattern. So you can see the difference in scale between the two. So they are different enough that you can get kind of different effects with them. Now, we also have this series. It's a part of, these 4 come together. And this is the part of my hearth codes. Those of you who have hung out with me know that I have my hearth codes. And so I wanted to bring some of those into here because I feel like they work. And I also can get those individual elements, just kind of getting some more of that off. It's kind of cool to kind of, also these stamps, you can spray them with a little bit of water and you can reactivate the inks on them when they dry. So these are from my hearth code stencils. So those of you who have gotten those stencils will recognize these patterns. And I just think that they go well with this, and it just kind of gives this individual, it gives this sort of other element to go with, you know, with these patterns. So we can also sort of just mix them. Kind of put that there. And just kind of to overstamp them different places. And see how organic they are. They just work in really nicely with what we're doing. So you just get to do all this overstamping. So we have that one. We have this one. This one is called String of Pearls from my hearth codes. This one, I forgot what this one is called from hearth codes, but. And so you, oh, look at that. Oh, I love that shape. I just think they're just so good. So this is like sort of, you know, like these were inspired by images that you can find on cave drawings and all kind of things. So we have that one. Then we have this stone pattern. This is kind of cool to get. Like you could literally only do a few of them like that, like those 3. And so you just kind of get these dots that you might want to add to something without doing the whole track of them. So just think in terms of that, like how you can just, you know, just be able to stamp some random dots that sort of just give that kind of feel. Or you can definitely do the whole thing. So think of these as in pieces too. Like I said, I'm showing them all because I just thought it'd be cool to show everyone. I had a Facebook Live for my Facebook group on Thursday, and they were able to come in and see everything before you buy them, because, you know, I want you to see what you're getting and sort of kind of figure out like what you would like to have. I just love those dots. Just so basic. And then this one right here is really cool too. It's like, it's the dots with the track, but I love this idea of doing these as elements. I'll show you. So, for instance, let's put this down there. See, I love this pattern. Now, what you can do is you can also, so now these patterns can build on themselves. So you could take them and work them all kinds of ways. But let's see, you can flip it, put that there. We can get like this one. So there are as many ways as you can think it. These stamps can go all together all kinds of ways. So you can really make them your own. See, so we can kind of like build these patterns with them. So much can be done. Okay. So let me finish stamping this page up because I want to show you something else too. But I want to go ahead and finish. So let's do some more patterns here. So we can take them like that. We can also stamp like that. And put this one next to it. I just love building them. See, so you just kind of just really have at them. Let them overlap and stuff like that so that they're not just, you know, like I would take this and just overlap it over those dots. Just so you start getting, you know, like, we want to build up pattern with these. You don't want them just to sort of be get this one. I think you guys are getting the idea. So I'm also going to show you what I love to do. Just kind of wanted to finish this a little bit. So I'm going to show you something else we can do real quick. I'll put this to the side. I still would do more with this. I still would kind of keep on over stamping it. I just kind of wanted to show you all so you can see everything clearly. But me, I would just keep on like taking these dots and stamp them over some of these patterns, and take this just do it down there, no matter where you put them. And then let's get some text. The text is good too, just to kind of over stamp. Okay. So, like in this area here, that down. See, so we have that really faint line that says text, but you know, you really don't read it as that. So I would just keep on over stamping this whole piece, but I want to show you something else. I'm gonna put this to the side and grab another piece of paper. Okay, so I'm back. I have my smaller Gelli Plate. It's already got some paint on it, but that's okay. And I'm going to use the Golden's zinc white. This is more of a translucent type of color. And I want that because I want to put a field of color down So what I like to do is I like to stamp up paper like this. So I'm gonna do a really thin sort of glaze kind of layer. And you can use whites. I'll use metallics. So we're gonna start off by, you know what I'm gonna do? I'll just flip this over so I can just lay it right down and stamp. So I like to lay these layers of color down and see what happens. You start getting, you can see the line, like the red lines through it, but we're just building up additional texture to stamp on top of it. I'm telling you, that does some really neat things. So let's just keep going with the white. So basically all you want to do is just keep on linking up your plate, getting a nice thin kind of glaze layer over, and I just kind of keep on butting one up against the other. It's okay too if it overlaps, kind of using my my patchwork sort of technique where you just kind of keep on patchworking the I like the fact that I just keep on activating and keep on getting that ghost. That's nice to see that partial circle. Let me go to stamp over that. That's going to be cool. Over stamp. That paint is continuing to give me some. Oh, I love it. Keeps on activating. I'm trying to figure out what do I have on here. Oh, that's Sumi. Actually, that is some Sumi on there. Yeah, Sumi will do that. It'll dry nicely on your plate, but you can keep on activating it with paint and get this sort of technique. Let's see where this goes. Okay. And so what I would do is I would stamp this whole thing up. I'm going to shift also to champagne. So you get this nice sort of champagne color that's a metallic. I like using the white. I like using this one to kind of create these glazed layers. Oops, wow. Didn't mean to do that much. To create these glazed layers that we can, let me get my spatula. When you do too much, you can just. So yeah, wanted to show you the stencils. I'm really proud of these. I really love them. I will be using these quite a bit myself in my work, a lot of my books. I just have a lot of ideas for these. So I just want to kind of give you some ideas of how I'll be using them. So when you see me using them back in the cabinet of curiosities, you guys can also get your, you know, papers ready. Okay, so show you what this, I love this champagne done as a glaze. It makes such a nice color. So you can sort of see the variation there. Of course, this is metallic, that's flat. But I'm gonna do a couple of more and then I'm gonna show you the over stamping. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Pick this up now. I think I can flip it over. It's not too messy. Okay, so now, okay, so you got the idea. I can continue across this, but I'll stop there because I want to show you. So let's take, let me see. So let's say that I want to start creating this kind of collage-like pattern. Now that we see what they look like, I'm not going to ink them all up. I'm only going to ink portions of it so you can get an idea of how I would work with these. And you see how you get a more, it dries into the paint differently. So it starts like sort of pushing back into the jelly print, which I just love. So let's just go for some of this. And some of the places where there's no paint, you'll get a darker line and a lighter line. I like that a lot. So let's just, I'm just grabbing any of them because for me, I just know that I want to create my own sort of the idea of my own decorative paper, you know, if we think about how we think of paper that you go and buy in the store, what have you. This is designed, oh, it looks so good there. This is designed to, the stamps are designed so that you can just kind of do your own thing. I think you guys are seeing that now. But over top of this paint, it's just the best. So I like the way you can kind of go dark and light. Let's get some of this. So here again, we're just going to do some of the pattern. Just very random. So we're just kind of moving it around. And also you see how I'm using the Artfoamie, which is great, but I'm getting all these variations of color because I'm reactivating some of the inks that were on here. So some of this had a little bit of that pink. And the fact that we already have like that circle print there, I like that. And also, let me show you what it looks like. I'll stamp some. So let me just grab this. I want to show you what they look like stamped too. So if you want a really clean print, you'll have an idea of what they look like. So let's put that there. Yes, so see, we can just kind of overprint places. So we just start getting these really neat random patterns that we can then use bits and pieces of this as collage paper. So this is a palette, this is slate. So let me just go ahead and turn it like this. I want you to see how clean. There's a little bit of the fountain pen ink on here, so it might still bleed a little bit, but let's just see. So I'm gonna do it on the blank paper over here so you can see. You see how crisp it is if you just use the ink pad. Let's grab this one so you can see. I'll stamp this over top of the paint. So you can see that's a little more subtle. It kind of pushes it back a little bit more. But, and the same is true with the patterns. So you can mix the inks, the fountain inks with the, you know, with your stamp pads. Or if you don't have fountain inks, you know, you can just use your stamp pads. I just like the bleeding and everything that happens with the over stamping and what have you. So literally we can just have fun. And now this gives us something that we can, you know, oh, love it. So So just kind of giving you some ideas of how, you know, you can work these with your gel prints as well. So I kind of get up into these corners. Let's say right in there. And you see I'm not stamping the whole thing. I'm only grabbing bits and pieces of it. Don't be afraid just to kind of have this, you know, infusion of pattern. Let's get the wood block here. And I really, if you sort of kind of create this background using like interesting papers like this too, it's kind of cool because you really do get this opportunity to really make some interesting papers that then you can go and collage because you got this extra element of lines and color and texture. So we'll let that dry a little bit. And so that's basically all of the collection. There's 7 sets. And let's see. So this down here is dry. So you can see it. So even in our journal, and we'll play with this next week, but this is like the next page there. So you could even take this one here, and if you start thinking in terms of pieces, and just, it's nice how it bleeds through on the back too. But literally, you know, I could start with something like this. And so you can see how you can make a really cool overall pattern that, you know, when we break it down into the smaller elements, we can end up with something like this that then we can begin to put down in our journal and continue to work our cabinet of curiosities. And I like how that 1787 is right there. But just having some of our paints, you know, some of the gel prints and plain paper and stuff like that. And then of course, look at this. This down here is just ready for some coffee staining. You guys know how I love keeping my coffee staining at the my coffee at the ready. Where is my hold up, let me see if I can just get my hands on it. It should be right over here on my tablet. But of course, things that should be somewhere aren't always. Where's my coffee? Oh. I don't see it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to reactivate the, oh, that's a shame. I was going to reactivate the stamp pads too so that you can see what they do. But if you spritz them, I don't think the spritzer works with my wood in it. I don't think it's, oh yeah, this is some of the wood. You can reactivate it. So see, you can kind of get this real watery kind of effect. Now that's over a lot of paint that got off rolled on this paper. See how you really get this, that bleeding that happens. Love that about these foam stamps. They just, so even if it dries, you can come back and just reactivate it and get it going. And then if I had my hands on my coffee, I would just, because I keep it in my spray bottle, then after, oh, look at that. I just love that bleeding that you get by adding that extra water. And then I would just take this whole piece and coffee stain it. So I'm going to remember to do that so that next week you can kind of see this piece and it'll be ready for us to use. But anyhow, there we have it. The code, the link is below for you to go and you can grab a free set of printables, and then the discount code for 20% off is also going to be in the link. And so if you want to jump in and grab some stamps, they're all done and ready to go. So these are the sets: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then these 4 come together in the 7th set. So you have an idea of what you're dealing with. I don't remember all of the names, you know, but you'll be able to look at these and see this sort of a chevron, these triangles. I know this one I think is wood block. This one I think is earth markings. This one might be Cuba. And I think one is Paris scripts 1 and Paris scripts 2, I think. Something like that. But anyhow, okay, that was a nice little mark making session with the stamps and stuff. And, you know, hopefully you guys will have fun making some papers, or, you know, use some of these techniques, get some of this paper. I'll have it linked for you. And just do it with stamps and stuff you already have. But I just love making these papers. And this is just so yummy with these fountain pen inks. Like, look at that. Just look at how this is bled. Just looks like an old document. I love it. It's 1787. All right, I'll let you all go. So hopefully you enjoyed this session, and give you opportunity to really see the stamps before you go on to the site to consider which ones you may want. You'll have an idea what they do and how they look. And that's everything. So if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to thumb it up. If you're new to the channel, please hit that the bell for all so that you can subscribe. And let's see, I think that's everything until next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy creating. And so much love to you all. Bye-bye.